What if I told you some of the scariest images ever created don't have monsters in them at all? No blood, no jump scares, no threat. And yet, millions of people look at these images and feel the same thing: dread. I'm Justin Norton Kurtzen, your guide to the occult, the strange, and all things nerd horror. This is Beyond the Veil. Millions of people look at these images and feel the same thing: dread. Because something is wrong. Not obviously wrong, not violently wrong, just wrong enough. These are called liminal spaces, places that exist between destinations, spaces designed to be passed through, not lived in. Airports, hallways, parking garages. But when you remove the people, you don't just get emptiness. You get something far more disturbing, a world that feels like it forgot you. Liminal horror works because it breaks 3 core rules of reality. 1, familiarity without context. 2, safety without reassurance. And 3, presence without people. Your brain expects meaning. These places refuse to give it. So your mind does what it always does in the dark. It fills in the blanks. And today, we're looking at 10 of the most iconic images that define the horror of liminal spaces. 1. Neon hallways. Neon-lit hallways distort reality in a way that feels both artificial and strangely familiar, using color and light to transform otherwise normal spaces into something dreamlike and unstable. The pinks, blues, and purples wash over walls and floors, flattening depth and altering perception, making it difficult to distinguish what's real from what only appears to be. These spaces often feel like fragments of memory or pieces of a dream, where logic doesn't fully apply and the environment exists more as an impression than a place. The lighting itself becomes part of the unease because it suggests intention without explanation, as if the space was designed to evoke a feeling rather than serve a function. It's not just that the hallway is empty, it's that it feels like it was never meant to be fully real in the first place. The result is a subtle but persistent discomfort. The sense that you're somewhere that looks familiar, but isn't entirely trustworthy. Like reality has been slightly rewritten without your knowledge. 2. The pool rooms. At first glance, the pool rooms feel almost comforting, like stepping into a quiet spa or a forgotten resort frozen in time, where the air is warm and the water lies perfectly still beneath soft, golden lighting. The tiled floors glisten, the reflections ripple gently across the walls, and everything seems calm. Too calm. But the longer you look, the more the unease begins to creep in, because something fundamental is missing. There are no ladders, no changing rooms, no signage, no evidence that anyone ever built this place for actual use. The pools stretch into one another, forming a labyrinth of water and tile that seems to go on forever, with no clear entrance and no visible way out. The silence becomes oppressive, broken only by the faint echo of water against stone. And suddenly the calm transforms into something suffocating. It's not just that you're alone. It's that the space itself feels indifferent to your presence, as if it was never designed for people at all. The pool rooms embody a uniquely unsettling kind of horror. The realization that you might be trapped in a place that feels safe, but offers no escape. 3. Empty malls. Malls were once temples of activity, bright, bustling ecosystems filled with movement, noise, and the constant hum of human presence, designed to keep you walking, browsing, consuming, and existing within a carefully controlled environment. But strip all of that away, remove the people, and what remains is something eerily hollow, like a stage after the actors have disappeared mid-performance. The lights are still on, the escalators still stand ready, storefronts remain open or half lit, but there's no one to occupy them. No voices, no footsteps, no life. The architecture becomes more noticeable in the absence of distraction, revealing long corridors that stretch farther than they should, atriums that echo with silence, and decorative elements that now feel strangely artificial and out of place. It's not just empty, it's abandoned in a way that feels recent, as if everyone left all at once and never returned. The mall becomes less a place of commerce and community and more like distorted nostalgia, a relic, a fossilized memory of a system that depended entirely on human presence to function. Without people, it doesn't just feel empty, it feels wrong, like something that shouldn't still be running. 4. Empty airports. Airports are inherently liminal spaces, designed to exist between destinations, where people are always either arriving or leaving, but never truly staying. And that constant motion is what gives them purpose. When that motion stops, when the terminals fall silent and the gates sit empty, the entire space begins to feel uncanny in a way that's difficult to articulate. Rows of chairs stretch out under harsh fluorescent lights. Departure boards flicker without meaning, and long corridors extend toward gates that lead nowhere, as if the idea of travel itself has been suspended. There's a sense of interruption here, like something that should be happening isn't. Like time has stalled, but the infrastructure continues to exist without context. The absence of people turns what is normally a place of anticipation into a place of existential pause, where the question isn't just where are you going, but whether you're going anywhere at all. An empty airport doesn't feel abandoned. It feels like a system waiting for something that will never arrive. 5. School hallways. There's something uniquely unsettling about an empty school hallway, because it taps directly into memory and nostalgia, into a place you've likely experienced during some of the most formative years of your life, now stripped of everything that made it familiar. The lockers line the walls, the fluorescent lights hum overhead, and the floors stretch out in long, straight lines that feel almost too perfect. But the absence of students transforms the entire environment into something hollow. No laughter, no voices, no movement. Just silence where there should be noise. It feels like walking through a memory that no longer belongs to you. a place that remembers what it was but no longer functions that way. The familiarity becomes disorienting because your brain expects activity. It expects life, and instead finds nothing. That disconnect creates a subtle but powerful unease, as if you've arrived at the wrong time or in the wrong version of reality. The horror isn't in the space itself, but in the realization that something once alive is now completely still. 6. Hotel hallways. Hotel hallways are designed to be navigated, temporary spaces that guide you from one room to another. But when they stretch on endlessly, repeating the same patterns over and over again, they begin to lose their sense of direction entirely. The identical doors, the patterned carpet, the uniform lighting, all of it creates a visual loop that makes it difficult to orient yourself, as if every turn leads back to where you started. There are no distinguishing features, no landmarks to anchor your perception, just repetition that slowly erodes your sense of control. It feels like a space that could go on forever. Not because it physically does, but because it's designed in a way that makes it feel that way. And that's where the horror emerges. Not from what's behind the doors, but from the realization that you may never find the right one. In a place where every option looks the same, choice becomes meaningless, and movement becomes wandering. 7. Parking garages. Parking garages aren't places meant for people to linger. They're purely transitional environments, designed for movement rather than presence. And that design becomes painfully obvious when they're empty. The concrete structures echo with every sound, amplifying even the smallest movement into something larger and more noticeable, while the fluorescent lighting casts harsh, unnatural shadows across rows of empty spaces. There's no warmth here, no comfort, no indication that this is a place where anyone should spend time. And yet, when you find yourself alone in one, the absence of cars and people creates a strange tension, as if the space itself is aware that you don't belong. It feels exposed, vulnerable, like being caught in a place that was never meant to accommodate human stillness. The longer you stay, the more the environment begins to feel hostile. Not in an active way, but in a passive, structural sense. It doesn't want you there, and you can feel it. 8. Empty suburbs. Suburban neighborhoods are designed to represent safety, stability, and normalcy, filled with homes, streets, and quiet routines that create a sense of comfort and predictability. But when those same streets are completely empty, when there are no cars, no people, and no signs of life at all, the familiarity becomes deeply unsettling. The houses line up in neat rows, the lawns are perfectly maintained, and everything appears exactly as it should, except for the absence of anyone living within it. It feels like a paused moment, as if time stopped suddenly and left everything intact but removed the people who gave it meaning. That contrast between normalcy and emptiness creates a subtle but powerful dread, because nothing is visibly moving, and yet everything feels off. It's not abandoned in a traditional sense. It's preserved, frozen in a way that suggests something happened. Something quiet and total. Something that erased presence without disturbing the environment itself. And that implication lingers. 9. Playgrounds at night. Playgrounds are spaces defined by motion, sound, and energy, built specifically for children to run, climb, swing, and fill the air with laughter. And without that activity, they feel fundamentally incomplete. At night, under dim or artificial lighting, the structures take on a different quality entirely, casting long shadows and standing in silence where there should be constant movement. The swings hang still, the slides reflect faint light, and the entire space feels suspended, like a moment waiting to happen that never does. There's something particularly unsettling about the absence of joy, because it's not just that the space is empty, it's that it was designed for happiness, and now that happiness is gone. The contrast creates a kind of emotional dissonance, where the purpose of the space and its current state are in direct conflict. It doesn't feel abandoned, it feels paused, like something interrupted the joy and never allowed it to return. 10. The Backrooms. This is where it all started. The image that quietly rewired how the internet experiences fear. A single photo, posted with almost no context, showing a maze of yellow office rooms stretching endlessly in every direction, lit by the kind of buzzing fluorescent lights that feel more oppressive than illuminating. The carpet is stained, the walls are too uniform, the geometry doesn't quite make sense, as if the space is repeating itself without intention or oversight. There are no doors, no windows, no indication that this place connects to the outside world at all. And that is what makes it so deeply unsettling. Not that something is chasing you, but that nothing is. And somehow, that is worse. It feels like a place where you weren't meant to enter, a place you could slip into by accident, like falling through a crack in reality itself. The Backrooms aren't terrifying because of what's inside of them. They're terrifying because they suggest there might be spaces just outside our understanding of the world, waiting quietly for someone to stumble into them and never find their way back. All of these images share the same core idea. They're places that should have people, but don't. And your brain can't accept that. So it starts asking questions. Where did everyone go? Why am I here? How do I leave? And the worst one, am I even supposed to be here at all? These spaces don't show you a monster. They make you feel like like you might already be inside of one.
Horror.
Please like and subscribe for more nerd horror. And we also have another channel called Nerd Horror Stories, a twice-weekly anthology horror series that tells tales of the supernatural, psychological, and unexplainable. So please check out Nerd Horror Stories.